For me, it was a pleasure and an honor to watch him, just as a man, as an actor, because you don't often get to see someone begin that kind of journey. And from what I'm hearing, you all kind of began that journey together. Did you ever think you would fall for an actor?
No, it was nowhere in my purview. I met this person who was this wonderful man, and he then ended up being this, like, not just an actor, but like a global superstar, you know, artist. I still kind of can't believe it.
No, wait a minute. What do you mean? What can't you believe?
It just, I can't believe that. I can't believe that I was so lucky. I can't believe that I got to love this person. And I also got them to love me too. Yeah. He was an artist, and he was a leader, and he was a king.
Yes.
And, you know, and that I got to be by his side for that, that he chose me. It's the greatest blessing, even with, you know, the pain of his loss.
Yeah.
Now I still get to have this beautiful spirit relationship with him.
Yeah.
He's an ancestor now. He is, and he is never leaving me.
No, not ever, Queen. Never, Queen. You are now queen and leader. This is now your journey to bring other people on, to tell them who he was and how he wanted to see other people be, if possible. 2020 presents, and Black Panther in Search of Wakanda airs Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern here on ABC.
With you, T'Challa, he could have used the gauntlet, because the suit absorbs power, and Tony wouldn't have had to die. Yeah.
Not only is he not wrong, if they wanted to bring Tony back, they could easily go back in time and have T'Challa go for the gauntlet instead of Iron Man. Who knows? Possibly we could have got them both back.
As soon as Keke Palmer dressed up as Rogue for Halloween, I knew racist people were gonna make a scene. Okay, so I made a video saying racist people need to leave Keke Palmer alone. Because according to Rogue's creator, she was supposed to look like Grace Jones. But apparently before Rogue, Grace Jones inspired another X-Men member. Listen to the story of the person that designed her.
I saw Grace Jones, beautiful, statuesque, wore this skin-tight lame outfit. She was on skates. I said, this is the character.
Even though this was Dazzler's original design, here's the reason why she looked like this by publication time.
As the negotiations and the concept evolved, it went from Grace Jones to Bo Derek.
The writers never mention who made them change her race, but I think we can guess why that was a request in the first place. Most of the time when comics change a character's look, people complain that they're faking diversity just to sell books. But stories like this offer clear evidence that some characters are only white to appeal to a certain audience. And if you didn't complain when that was happening, you can't complain about diverse casting.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us for Think About It Thursday.
Girl, we really need to stop coming up with these names because they're going to think we sitting here just surviving things like this. Girl, shoot. Now, before you say anything, folks, I'm going to let you know this right now. If I wince or if you see a grimace across my face, my back is hurting. But I said I'm going to be faithful to these fans. You can ask her. You can ask her.
He did, because I offered him 3 different times. I said, if you want to sit this one out, you can sit it out. Yeah. Now,
So I'm doing this for y'all.
yes. Now, for those of y'all that don't know, if you do not follow DMAC, it's at DMAC5by5 on TikTok. He has a wonderful series called Dear White People. Now, I'm going to draw from his series for the opening for tonight.
Oh, Lord.
Because the CEO of the Coontastic Coalition of Utah is ripe for the picking. Now, I normally just run the footage and then we talk about it on the end. But I queued up these 3 videos a little different because we're going to listen to a little bit, stop, pause, comment, listen to a little bit, stop, pause, and comment because he's so problematic through all of this that he even had me go back and check history that I already know to make sure that I knew the history that I know. Okay?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, just to let you know, this coontastic CEO of Utah was born on the continent of Africa. Yet he's one of those that wants to come over and act like there's no racism within the United States because he found him a white prize wife in the Mormon church.
Oh, God.
Just so you had that prerequisite as we move through and peruse the parameters. There was his whole page is a red flag, but these are the 3 that I figured wouldn't get me a community guidelines violation between my response and Good Cuz's response. Okay.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Let's start with the first one.
You're not going to get into a college. You guys are not going to get any scholarships because this is a hate crime.
We all dropped out of high school. It's okay.
And I still don't think it's appropriate for you guys to be doing this. It's.
Hey friends, it's Abraham. Yes, I'm actually here at the Walmart in Cedar City. Yes, I live in the state of Utah and I love it. It's a great place with wonderful people. And I gotta talk to you about that video that you just saw. That's an example of fake outrage. Let me tell you more.
Oh, he thinks he is as white as his teeth. Talking about fake outrage. Wasn't nothing fake about it. That was real outrage. But bruh, you blackity black. You the black that the rest of us are trying to, ascend to as far as complexion, because it is beautiful. But your teeth is pretty. But your race ain't your teeth. Let's keep going.
That video that you saw, it seemed to have happened right about here. If you see this sign there and this back there. So do you remember about 2004, there was a movie, very popular movie, really funny movie with the Wayans brothers.
Mary and Joseph.
It was called White Chicks.
And a Billy Goat.
It was 2 black actors with white face on. There was no outrage. No one was upset.
Okay. Before we move on, can we stop calling white chicks white face? Because those were full on prosthetic. Now, if
Sure
you
enough
have
were.
a problem what Iron Man did before he was Iron Man in a certain movie, Tropic Thunder, okay, fine. But when you put on full prosthetics and
Full on mask, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and the thing about it is they were undercover agents that need to infiltrate a certain demographic in order to solve a crime.
So I made a movie. Okay. So me and Patrick, DJ King Gianti on TikTok, did we kind of tag team? We didn't tag team, but we did tag team on this particular movie. And I said, here's the thing: White Chicks was a social commentary on white people assuming black people culture. We were literally showing them exactly what they were doing.
And it also brought up the whole, what I call the preference patrol. Y'all will get a blog about that tomorrow. And we have another story later on today regarding a member of the preference patrol. Because if y'all remember, Terry Crews's character was obsessed with the white skins.
Even men. Tell the truth and shame the devil.
Let's hear what else. Let's hear what else Coon Timothy has to say. Let's go.
As a matter of fact, I think that movie made a ton of money. A lot of people were so excited about it. So therefore, there should be no outrage, no one upset over a bunch of very cool, awesome, nice kids in Cedar City with blackface on. It's
Did y'all catch that? A bunch of cool, awesome kids with blackface on. How the fuck you cool and awesome? And if y'all remember last night, I read there's only been 2 that came out with apologies, and I'm using that very loosely.
Apologizing.
Yeah, the faux lies. But let's keep going.
Halloween. Again, this is Abraham. I support this message. I live in the state of Utah. I actually know these people, so I can tell you unequivocally, or in other words.
And the reason why I say no, he doesn't, because we found out that these kids don't even go to school in the city that he's in. They go to a school quite a few miles outside. They went there because they thought that they were going to be undetected. And even if they were caught in 4K on camera, nobody would be able to pinpoint where they are. But baby, let me tell you, racism may work hard, but black people on the internet
work harder. I'm pretty sure Black Twitter, as much as it is, went into overdrive.
Black Twitter, Black Talk, Black Tube, all the black of the blackness. So him sitting here, I know them. No, you don't. No, you don't. And if you're saying you know them and you're so into LDS, the Church of Latter-day Saints, aka the Mormons, are you admitting that they're racist? Because that's going to come up in another video. But let's continue with this one.
I can tell you with all the truth and 100%. There's nothing rude about those kids doing blackface. And please, if you're trying to divide my community of Utah, you're gonna have to try it a lot harder than that. We don't play those games here. Thanks so much for watching this video.
Let's see. Let's go over this. Because I showed the videos over the course of the week. How many in just that city alone in Utah had racial occurrences and how egregious they were. And nobody said that they were trying to divide the community. Let's go on to Mr. I know my community, Mr. I love LDS. And
sorry, I had to plug in my computer.
What he has to say next. Buckle up, Buttercup. This is gonna be a bumpy ride.
I'm here. Hope you're having a amazing Sunday. I just wanted to give you 3 quick facts about the LDS Church. Some of you may know it as the Mormon Church, right? So fact number 1, the founder, Prophet Joseph Smith, ran for president in the 1844 election.
He did, that is.
As a matter of fact, he is the first U.S. presidential candidate to have been assassinated.
You want to tell him why?
His platform was one of anti-slavery. That's right. Prophet Joseph Smith of the Mormon Church was running for U.S. president, and his plan was to end slavery and abolish slavery. Fact number 2.
Okay. Fact number 1. Now, there's a little bit of truth and a whole lot of lie in this. Joseph Smith went from a totalitarian anti-abolitionist stance to a pseudo-abolitionist stance. He wanted to replace the property of Southern white people with land and money. Just like every other Southern white man at the time, he was willing to pay white people to give up their slaves. He was willing to pay for the commodities. He never said the black people were people. He referred to them as property. And the only reason he wanted to do that is because he wanted to decrease the amount of people in the House of Representatives. And the only way to do that, because at this point, 1844, black men who were enslaved were considered what? 3/4 of a human being. That's how the South was getting more representation in the House of Representatives. If you wanted to decrease that, the only way you could decrease it was to get rid of enslaved people. And since you were still considering them property that was bought and paid for, they still would not be able to vote. They still would not be viewed as people. And the reason he was shot, I'll give y'all a guess on that. But go ahead, D-Mac.
I thought it was the Compromise of 1850 that did the 3/5 of a person.
They were already considering us that at that point. It wasn't officially on the books. See, now you
I
know
just
this.
thought, no, girl, I just thought.
No. I make friends with people who work in museums and libraries. You know that. Now, I get little peeks at stuff. But yeah, that they were all, because you think about it. It would be no different than, okay, this glass, this iPad belongs to me, right? If I got extra votes because I had this particular glass and this particular iPad, if you want to decrease the amount of representation my little neck of the woods gets, because say everybody in my city went out and bought the glass and the iPad so we can have more representation. If you go, you know what? I'll pay y'all $1,000 to give up that glass and give up that iPad. That decreases our representation. But they're not saying the glass nor the iPad can vote. They're still saying it's property. It's just property that's been paid for by the United States government. So where do y'all think those enslaved people were going to go? Who do you think they would now become the property of?
That's what I'm saying.
And they were also, and part of his plan was to trade land or either sell land to have the money to pay them or trade them additional land for their enslaved people. And one thing we know about slave owners is they did not know how to tend to their own fields. Hence the fact that the South never recovered. But let's keep going, because let's go to his next point. This gonna get even more juicy, and I'm gonna really be able to flex my smarticle particles, y'all. I'm excited.
Oh God, I'm dreading it now.
I thought you liked it.
No, what he's gonna say.
Oh yeah, but you're gonna like my response. Hold on.
Sunday. I just wanted to give you 3 quick.
Rewind.
In the 1844 election, first U.S. platform was one of for U.S. president and this plan. Fact number 2, 8 of the top 10 countries that have the fastest growth in membership of the LDS Church, they're in Africa. That tells me that the LDS Church is very welcoming with a beautiful message for all people.
Okay, let's stop. Let's take a look at the history of the LDS Church, because until 1978, they would not allow Black people, specifically Black men, to hold any powers within the church, because they said that Black men were too degenerative to become into the priesthood or to become clergy. And even to this day, as a Black person, you have to be sponsored by a white person. What does that sound like? In order to be in the church, and you have to be counseled throughout your time in the church. So I'm assuming that within the church confines, his wife has ownership of him. And let's also take a look into missionary work, specifically on the continent of Africa. See, they put up these churches and they forcibly baptize these people because the Church of Ethiopia still exists and Christianity is not new to people on the continent of Africa, nor Black people as a whole. That is a myth that was sold to you in order to make you either fervently against or fervently for the bastardized version of Christianity, specifically Americanized Catholicism, Americanized Protestantism within the United States. And Protestantism is a big umbrella that has several different denominations in it. Y'all can Google it. That is still free. So no, the numbers are growing because these people are getting certain things that they want or that they need, and that they've been tricked, bamboozled, and duped, because there are several accounts all over every social media platform from former missionaries that say how they tricked people and skewed the numbers. And the only place that you can get confirmation, yes, I'm using this very, very loosely, for these numbers is the official website for the LDS Church. Newspaper reports from newspapers run by the LDS Church and other media propaganda sites that are run by the LDS Church. But when you go and search the top denominations and the top religions in the continent of Africa. But let's get to his third point, y'all.
And last but not least, fact number 3, local clergy of the LDS Church are not paid. That's right. You heard that right. They're volunteers. All of that time, effort.
Let me stop him right there. Because here's the thing.
Thank you. I was about to die.
Every church in the United States considers all of their staff volunteers and unpaid because tithing is looked at as a donation. It's no different than every other nonprofit. So no, it's not like these people are giving 70, 80, 90 hours a week, because the LDS Church works more hours than everybody else to try to convince girls to go to Brigham Young University and have their parents take out loans for them to go to college to learn nothing but to try to snag up a husband. And if you don't snag up a husband by the end of your freshman year or the beginning of your sophomore year, you are considered an old bitty hen. While them kids is trying to get their sexual rocks off in every other way that's weird than actually just having sex or being properly educated on sex education. And we're not going to talk about the pedophilic start of the church and the pedophilia that was down with the founders of the church, and the fact that they went from being neutral on slavery to pseudo anti-slavery to full on pro-slavery and anti-blackness to this day. So no, they're not just volunteers. Who can survive on an occupation, because it is an occupation, where you cannot have another job? Y'all really, and let's be real. Let's be real, American Christians within the United States. The truth behind how you were supposed to be paid is that your congregants are supposed to bring you the food that you eat and the clothes that you wear. So whatever they deem is appropriate for how you are the shepherd of their flock is how you are supposed to survive. You're not supposed to have private jets and everything else. And if the LDS Church wasn't taking in money, which he is trying to suggest, why are all their churches so big? Why do they have enough money to send people out to spy on people and come back and say, oh, such and such ain't doing this, such and such. You need to divorce your wife and marry this wife and just take the kids. How are they paying for all these lawsuits to try to take these kids away from women who wake up and realize that ain't where they're supposed to be? But he ain't done, y'all. He ain't done. I think Kanye West took a page out of his book. Cousin, I told you it was 3 videos. I told you it's 3 videos. And here's video numero 3.
Abraham, a couple days ago,
Hold on, real quick. Is anybody else catching the irony that his name is Abraham and he claims to be so religious? I wonder who he would sacrifice.
Let's not do it. Let's not do it. Let's not do it today. Let's leave them out of this. They have nothing to do with this.
My thing. Before I start this back up, pay attention to what he says, but focus on the baby's face. You'll understand in a minute. Focus on the baby's face while listening to what he has to say. It's worth it. Trust me.
I did a video about White Lives Matter. And in that video, I said, my kids are white. And you know what's interesting about that? I meant that 100%, right? And here's why. My kids are 100% white and they're 100% black. They're not half of each, right? So therefore, we believe that all lives matter. You see what I'm saying? Hey friends, so it's Abraham.
Did you catch that baby's face when he said all lives matter? He looked like, leave me out of this. Now, first of all, he failed basic biology and math. How you got a black daddy and a white mama, but you 100% both things? And you said you made a video saying white lives matter. Now you believe all that. This love is taking control of me. All right. As I told y'all before, there is some poisoning going on within the United States military. Please pay close attention. And if you have the opportunity, share, even if you don't share the whole broadcast, share this portion of the broadcast, please. If you have family in the military, specifically the Navy, and do not want to see this, please look away for the next 1 minute and 25 seconds.
This is Captain Amy Barnschmidt. She is the commanding officer of the USS Abraham Lincoln. On September 21st, 2022, sailors reported a fuel odor coming from their sinks and showers. Their concerns were immediately dismissed. The captain also stated that she had testing done, but did not confirm jet fuel. She only confirmed E. coli. The captain also reassured that the water was safe to drink, and at the same time, sailors were taking pictures and videos of the water, which appeared to look cloudy with a black film on it. A recent article by ABC News 10 in San Diego confirmed the E. coli contamination, but didn't mention any jet fuel. The reporter said she asked about the jet fuel in the water, but Navy officials ignored the question. Sailors aboard this ship are still experiencing symptoms similar to chemical exposure. Their symptoms include headaches, sinus and lung issues, chemical rashes and chemical burns, vomiting, and diarrhea.
And before y'all go, why didn't they just boil the water? Do you not understand how jet fuel works?
That would not be a good idea.
And you need to also understand how the variety of ships within the United States military, how they're set up, and the confines in that. Like, okay, there is an episode of NCIS where there's like a whole deck of sailors that died because of.
Turn up your volume. She said she can barely hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I took my hearing aid out. So is this better? I'm talking a little bit louder. Sorry. I tend to talk lower when I take it out, but.
Well, Charlotte will say if she can hear you better.
Yeah, but the people in my house, they get on my nerves, so I don't always want to hear them. But no, like the confines of one of those is it's not pretty. Sorry, I keep fiddling with my shirt. The neckline is weird. But any comments on that, cousin, before we move on to Elon Musk?
Wait, hold on. I got something for you. Wait. We gotta get to Cora. Come on, Cora. Why is it reverberating?
But if you don't catch that reference, you can rewind to the videos that we were talking about before that. No, I know you can't hear me talk over anything else, but there's one, two. Okay, we got about 5 minutes worth of Elon Musk updates. So if you need to grab a snack, turn the volume up. This is stuff you need to know. I'm not deactivating my Twitter account just yet because y'all know I like to bring y'all the news from the inside. So I'm going to sit back and see what it do. So, yeah. Here we go.
Tech billionaire Elon Musk, pictured here after hearing an employee say the word unionize, not a fan, has been demanding 84-hour work weeks out of his employees at Twitter. And many managers slept at the office. Like literally, this is a manager at Twitter. This in order to meet entirely invented deadlines made by Elon Musk. Why is he inventing them? Well, it's very simple, really. He is leveraged up to the eyeball, as this whole purchase depends on $12.7 billion that he acquired from banks. And it appears to be a very P.T. Barnum sort of situation. He didn't really have much of a business plan, so now the banks are waiting for him to give them a clearer business plan. And the business plan appears to be exploiting labor, as is his way. Loudly and publicly announcing plans to fire about half of Twitter's staff, and then making a bunch of unreasonable demands of them right before deciding who to fire. Basically, there's a whole bunch of people trying to keep their jobs before a bunch of November deadlines. And staff haven't been told whether they get overtime pay, time in lieu, or job security for working the assignments. They're just being expected to work around the clock in hopes of something better. Quote, the expectation is literally to work 24/7 to get this out. But this is the billionaire way. They don't create things, they just extract value. Like, while his staff has been working 24/7, what has Elon Musk been up to? Honestly, he's just been posting embarrassing memes and getting dunked on by blue check marks. Like, this is the worst comparison he could make. People would definitely be mad at an $8 Starbucks drink had that Starbucks drink been free for the entire life of the company until a billionaire came in and ruined it. Just saying. He also tried to call out AOC by pointing out that her sweaters cost $58, after which AOC roundly humiliated him, since the money goes to pay her workers, something Elon is unfamiliar with. But just a quick note here, if you work at Twitter, Elon Musk borrowed $12.7 billion to make this deal happen. He is making you work 84-hour weeks because he needs you to. He needs to show some sort of path to value for the banks and his investors, and he's going to have a real problem. So if you were ever thinking about unionizing, this moment in which he needs you far more than you need him may be the time. Just saying. Elon will feel like this if you do that.
This thread perfectly explains Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter. Elon did not buy Twitter. He impulsively made a ludicrously overpriced offer on Twitter, signed a contract that put him on the hook for that exact amount, tried to back out, but then was sued by Twitter to complete the buyout at the ridiculous price, and now is in a deal where the worse Tesla performs, the more debt he's in, and the worse Twitter performs, the worse Tesla performs because markets. His actions equal a guy with no impulse control suddenly at risk of losing his shirt and doing damage control. The dog who caught the car. All this fucking ridiculous, oh, he has a plan, oh, he has this motive. He's a Redditor with a huge loan he has to service to the tune of $1 billion a year and no one to tell him no. He's Trump if he actually had some money. There's nothing to fucking analyze. Social programming lies to us that rich people deserve to be in their position through skill, talent, or wisdom. Rich people get rich because they took a small fortune and turned it into a huge fortune. Trump and Musk are man children whose only talent is throwing money away. He can fix Twitter. Man can't fix a fucking car window or make a door that opens. He's going to fix one of the largest and most complicated social networks after dissolving the board and firing all of the staff. Sure, Jan. Well, he's going to fix one of the largest and most complicated social networks after dissolving the board and
Elon Musk is panicking. He has fired anybody who will tell him the truth, which is that he's royally fucked. Let me get you up to date on everything going on with Twitter. First thing you need to know is for the past 2 years, Twitter has not made a profit. In fact, they lost like $1.5 billion in the last 2 years. Last year, Twitter made $5 billion and spent $5.2 billion. Elon wants to cut some of those expenses by laying off between 25% and 75% of Twitter's workforce. But that won't even make a difference on the bottom line, because remember the loan he took out to buy Twitter? He has to pay $1 billion in interest on that loan every year. Elon's first idea, charge people every month for a blue check. Now, Jason Calacanis, or as we like to call him, Gretchen Wieners, posted a poll and found out what we already knew. Although Elon Musk found this interesting. Now, Twitter makes about 90% of that $5 billion in revenue from advertisers, so at a bare minimum, they need to keep every advertiser they have. But unfortunately, advertising companies are recommending to their clients that they pause spending on Twitter until the public safety picture becomes more clear. So that brings us to the other opportunity Elon has to make money and fast. The part of Twitter's revenue that does not come from advertising comes from collecting and selling your data. So with the pressure of bills coming due, it's not crazy to think that Elon would either sell more of your data or sell your data to more people. And the only people who can tell him not to do this are the board of directors, and he just fired them all.
And let me also add this caveat, because there's a part of that video, and I know the person was just reading tweets. Rich people don't take out small loans. Rich people get inheritances from generational wealth. And they maintain that wealth. And sometimes they look out and that wealth is increased through tax cuts from the government, subsidies from the government. They are the biggest welfare queens while they try to make you feel bad for partaking in systems that were created to keep you afloat. Because when you look at it on paper, when you're talking about liquidity, as far as assets, Elon Musk is broke. He pays himself in commodities. Hence the fact that every time he acquires a company that he has no background in, and he either ousts people and sues to have an asterisk next to his name as far as history to say that he's the founder of it, he doesn't have a background in it. Why do you think Teslas are catching on fire? And like they said, the windows don't work. All these things don't work. It's freaking ridiculous. And I know a lot of you for quite a while wonder why I cover Elon Musk so closely. Someone I know, a nurse, lost their lives driving home to her family, recently reconnected with her siblings that she had been separated from, finally getting a divorce from a toxic husband, and her car engulfed in flames on the highway on her way home. Guess what car she was driving? See, this is what happens when you have a rich boy who's never been told no. You can do anything because you got money. But before we move on, let's run the winter ad.
Style. Style is the answer to everything. A fresh way to approach a dull or dangerous thing. To do a dangerous thing with style is what I call art.
things I would hope were general knowledge, but this app proves every day that they are evidently not. The native and actual name of my country is Cymru. It comes from fellow countrymen. Wales and Welsh were given to us when the English invaded and set up camp. It means foreigners, strangers and slaves. Cymru is not in England. We're not a county or a city. South Wales is not a random European town, thank you Guardian Australia. It is in fact 2/3 of the country. Yes, we were annexed by England 500 years ago, but we were removed from the legal definition of England in 1967 and since 2011 have been recognised by the ISO as a country. We're not a principality. We haven't been a principality since the 13th century when England, the last native Tywysog. The Prince of Wales title was then stolen along with his banner and passed from English heir to the throne to English heir to continue the centuries-long humiliation of my country and my people. William, I know you probably don't watch TikToks, let alone mine, but get rid of it, abolish it, retire it, give it back. The language is alive and thriving. A decade ago, 18% of the country spoke the language. Now it's 29.5% and only 1% of those speakers don't use it daily. We've already hit 1 million speakers globally, and there are other countries out there that have first language Welsh speakers. The US, Canada, Australia, Estonia, Lithuania, just to name a few. Argentina even has its own entire dialect, Patagonian Welsh, Cymraeg o Bladfa. Not doing too bad considering the 500-year-long language bans imposed by the English and their attempts to wipe it out completely, beating it out of kids for generations with things like the Welsh Not, publishing the Blue Book reports that called us barbaric, evil and immoral for daring to have our own identity, language and culture and not assimilating properly into British civil society. Cymraeg yw iaith y daith, boys bach. Cymrophobia is a thing. The T-slur is offensive. So is the accompanying English nursery rhyme. And there is UK court precedent stating that sheep jokes are racially aggravated hatred. Yes, the wording is a little bit questionable there, but that comes from the historic othering and treating Cymru, the people of Cymru, as second-class citizens to the Anglo-Saxon English. And yes, comments like that do get filtered, but maybe just stop committing hate crimes in my comment sections every day. Also, Welsh people are a protected minority in the UK under the European Framework for the Protection of Minorities, as adopted into UK legislation. Just saying. If you made it this far, comment a dragon emoji. If you didn't, tuned up.
Okay, is there any echo? See,
No,
there's an
see,
echo.
and I don't have an echo, and I put it back in.
Oh no, it's not that. I can hear an echo.
Hold on, wait a second. Say something.
Hello? Yep.
Can you hear
Still
echo?
echoing on my end.
Okay.
How's this?
I've never heard an echo.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna ignore it because it hasn't done.
Yeah, I put echo cancellation and volume monitoring on. I put my aid back in because I was like, maybe I'm not catching it because I took it out. Because they're arguing upstairs and I didn't want to hear it, so I took it out because I can hear you because, you know, close proximity and I have the volume up. But if you check across the bottom, once again, www.vote.org, if you need an absentee ballot, if you need to check your early voting status, when you're voting, when your polls actually open on election day, that's where you can get it. And speaking of that, let's dive into the Florida voting fraud.
Hey, remember in August when Ron DeSantis held that big press conference and announced that 20 people had been arrested for election fraud? The real story is not voter fraud, but the incompetence of the state government. Every single person that was arrested received a voter ID card from the state of Florida. In other words, DeSantis touted the arrest of people who believed they were eligible to vote because of his own administration's failures. Body cam footage of the arrests revealed that law enforcement also didn't know why they were arresting people that the state of Florida told were eligible to vote. Charges against one of the defendants were already dismissed because a judge found that the office DeSantis set up to make these charges lacked jurisdiction. Voter fraud cases require an intent to defraud, which is pretty much impossible to prove since the state of Florida itself determined that these voters were eligible. Perhaps realizing that these charges will not stick, Florida has quietly started requiring parolees to sign a new form saying that they are solely responsible for determining their eligibility to vote. This is a standard Ron DeSantis tactic. Make a splashy announcement, generate politically useful headlines, and then count on waning media interest as your story falls apart. This has been Popular Information. Remember to follow along here and subscribe for more accountability journalism.
And 'tis the American way. Let's put the onus on the people, just like the IRS does. So now, people who are not well versed on, excuse me,
Bless you.
laws, state laws that are ever changing under Death Santas and Dumb Santas, are supposed to figure it out now. But remember, when I originally brought you all this story in August, a bunch of y'all flooded my Instagram DMs telling me that I got it wrong and that I was wrong. I'm still undefeated. And for the one particular person who had my phone number and texted me and said, "You can't be right about everything," I never said that. But if I'm going to say it publicly, I'm going to be right about it. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. And I know you're watching. Hey, boo. Now, by now, all of us are familiar with the fact that Paul Pelosi, who was released from the hospital today, yay. But are you familiar with the conspiracy theories? Let's take a look.
Attention, conspiracy theorists. The following information has all been verified by San Francisco police. You know, the blue that you supposedly back. There were not two hammers. The window was not smashed from the inside. The dude was not wearing his underwear. Pelosi's husband did not say the guy's name or that he knew him in the 911 call. Everything was recorded on security cameras, and the guy confessed. Best case scenario, what you have is called confirmation bias, and that is where you will believe literally anything that backs up your preconceived notions. But more than likely, you're just dumb as a rock.
Nancy Pelosi, well, she's got protection when she's in D.C. Apparently her house doesn't have a lot of protection.
Listen, Speaker Pelosi's husband, they had a break-in last night in their house, and he was assaulted. There's no room for violence anywhere, but we're going to send her back to be with him in California. That's what we're going to go do. That's what we're going to go do.
To his 8.7 million Twitter followers, Donald Trump Jr. shared an image of a hammer and a pair of underwear that had the caption, "Got my Paul Pelosi Halloween costume ready." He also posted something else, which he quickly deleted, a South Park-esque cartoon image, supposedly of Pelosi, and the guy who hit him in the head with a hammer having sex.
I think the effort to turn this into a political issue actually is a real problem here, because Paul Pelosi was attacked. Look, Paul Pelosi was attacked by a person who's an illegal alien in our country, should have never been here in the first place.
And yet somehow there was no security at the Speaker of the House's home on Friday night? It doesn't make sense at all. What does that mean? Like, how could you explain that? Maybe there's a good explanation. I'm not alleging anything. Why should the rest of us sit here and accept obvious inconsistencies in a story that has public policy implications and not say anything? Maybe we're in the habit of just accepting the most ludicrous possible claims and moving on to the next thing. It feels like where we are.
Why is the conservative movement to blame for gay schizophrenic nudists that are hemp jewelry makers breaking into somebody's home, or maybe not breaking into somebody's home? Why are we to blame for that exactly? If some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco or the Bay Area wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. I bet his bail's like $30,000 or $40,000. Bail him out and then go ask him some questions.
The talk has to stop. That's the problem. That's the problem. You can't just say, I feel badly about the violence. We condemn it. Condemn what produces the violence. And this talk produces the violence.
This increasing habit of demonizing political opponents creates a dangerous climate. And elected officials who do not explicitly reject or participate in over-the-top rhetoric, if that's what they're doing instead of, if they just ignore or make light of that kind of violence, or if they encourage their supporters to stand outside voting places armed with guns and dressed in tactical gear, if that's the environment that we create, more people are going to get hurt.
And it does look like Nancy has an alibi, but that doesn't mean, I know, I kid, I just kid. Womp, womp, womp. Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer. Oh, hey, wait a minute. Maxwell silver.
Let me give y'all some additional information here. Number one, your precious blue had access and was supposed to be monitoring cameras focused on the Pelosi home. No one was assigned to that night. When the police showed up, they could see through the windows that there was an extra person in the house. After we had a very, very sound 911 operator who figured out when Paul Pelosi was talking in code on the phone and not letting the attacker know that he was on the phone, know that he was talking to anyone about him, told police what was going on, and they stood outside until after Paul Pelosi's skull was cracked. So y'all want to continue to victim blame? Y'all want to continue with these conspiracy theories? And let's not forget what one gentleman said. Oh, it's supposed to be our fault, but if you're a patriot, go bail him out. If it's not your fault and it's not your rhetoric, why would you call on a good patriot to bail someone out? But from there, let's move on to the preference bros. And the ultimate preference bro, who we black women were told, oh, don't look at his Twitter feed. That's not how he really felt. Really? Because there's some recent recordings that came out that he recorded. He knew he fucked up. And the rest of his preference patrol are real silent. And even the greatest GPS on the country can't seem to direct them to any post or any stories regarding this. Let's take a look.
It is my phone!
Cece,
Don't touch me!
What is going on? Like, what are you gonna get this mad at me when I'm apologizing to you?
No, Christian.
Like, you're thinking I'm doing it on
purpose? Drop your high pitch.
Okay, I'm not doing it on purpose.
You touched Sahara. You know damn well the right thing to do is to tell me.
Yes, and I am so sorry.
So shut up and let me f***ing slap you, dumbass.
No, you're not gonna slap me.
Give me my phone.
You have your phone.
I don't have it anymore. Find it and f***ing charge it.
What?
Find it and charge it!
I mean, I'm sorry, Courtney.
I don't care. Find it and charge it.
Okay, just stop.
Don't touch me.
Man.
Yeah, man. Oh, man.
Because I'm telling you I'm sorry.
It is like hard. Find my f***ing phone and charge it.
I don't know where your phone is.
Find it.
Can you help me find it?
I won!
So why?
Find it!
Why are you screaming, man? Not man, but why?
Yeah, man. Little yeah, man. Yeah, man.
What? Like,
yeah, it's a little man, huh? Shut the f*** up. I need to find it because I have to go meet Ara again.
So to go out?
No!
You said she invited you
Christian, just find my goddamn phone!
I don't have your phone, can you just
find my phone!
Cece, can you just please
Shut up!
Just please.
Shut up, you went to go f***ing talk to her without talking.
I didn't go to go
Yes, you did, you always want to f***ing you f***ing asshole!
Courtney, I was on
You literally told me about it, now he's like, damn.
What are you
You are son.
I didn't go to talk to Ara. I was going on a bike ride. Like, what the
Get off of me!
Me going to talk to Ara? Is this gonna make you act like this?
You literally talked to her without telling me!
Courtney, I was on a bike ride and she passed me and I said hi. You and Courtney are having a live chat. My bad, I forgot to tell you that. That doesn't make you to act and call me a
You're
Yes, thank you. Coming from Courtney, thank you.
I want you to get away from me! Get away from me!
Ooh, Chile, honey. So, for those that care, I remember Mr. Album Stelly, honey, Mr. Toby. Well, you know, his girlfriend is finally in somebody's courtroom, and they played back some recordings he had on his phone. Apparently, he secretly recorded their fight. And all I got to say is, child, all this talking you did about black women, and this is what you was going through with your preference? Girl, you wanted a white girl that bad? So bad that you would let her berate you and call you all types of N-words, mad at you for the slightest infraction. In this recording, if you go check it out, she's furious because while he was on his run, he said hey to a mutual friend, a female friend that they know, and didn't think to mention it to Miss. So tell us again how black women are so stressful, because
like I said, the Preference Patrol, they can't find this story. If good GPS, Google Maps showed them the way, they are silent. See, they went before saying that this was their preference, and white women, you know, were so submissive. To me, it sounded like the only person that was submitting in that whole recording was him. He had to secretly record her. And what did we learn from Johnny Depp, who is a white man? Don't never trust a white woman.
Nope.
But that was his preference. He had so much to say about black women. So much to say about black women. But you had to record her, and you were saying thank you because you finally got her on recording calling you the N-word. So how many times before that did she call you a nigger? How many times before that has she said that to you? Because I heard that when she said that to him and he said, thank you. Thank you for finally saying, because he knew he was recording at that time. And all this because in passing he said hey to somebody. So she really thought she had ownership of him. Black men that want to say, this is my preference, and you go out and get a white woman who has plastic surgery to have the aesthetic of a black woman, a white woman who decides to caricaturize herself as a black woman, and you think that they are the submissive, they gonna just do whatever I want. Baby, listen, a white woman gonna white woman, a Karen gonna Karen. And you want to talk about black women who get into a relationship with white men? First of all, look at who white men choose to be with. They're highly educated, they're attractive, they're dynamic as fuck. And these are women that are unequivocal in their stance. And these white men know, and they know not to tread the line. Just like I told y'all the other night, look up Elon James White on Twitter, if you still have a Twitter account, where he was sitting there like, oh, my now white wife, her family wouldn't invite me to Thanksgiving. Her brother tried to use his birthday wish to get me invited. And he leaned upon black women to lift him up, but still married that white woman who couldn't stand up for him. Still had kids with this white woman. Still used black women to build his profile, his YouTube channel, his podcast, his website, and didn't want to pay these women a dime. See, it's not a preference. You just know that black women are the backbone of the black community. And we're going to be more inclusive than most. We're going to be more sympathetic than most. Well, my sisters will be, not me.
No, not me.
My good cousin will tell, but because he be getting on me a lot. Like, cuz, you a little too harsh. Ease up. He does. Am I lying, cuz?
Yeah.
And there are times that, yes, he's absolutely right. And there's other times where because I do make the mistake of telling him my response before I tell him the whole story. And then when I tell him the whole story, he's like, oh, yeah, you should have had that response. I generally start with my response, which I'm working on. But yeah, nah, y'all have these preferences. And now that he's dead, his family is calling upon predominantly black women to show up and show out for him. No, you didn't want us. You said that we were the headache in society. You said that we were the bottom tier of the echelon of society. You said this was your piece. Passport bros, the preference patrol. Where you at? Why you not defending him? Why aren't you calling for justice for him? Oh, because y'all already know what you go through. You already know what the fuck you put up with. Because you think, and I'm not saying everybody in an interracial relationship feels this way. I'm specifically talking about the passport bros and the preference patrol. You know, the people who got to come out and tell us they preference and denigrate us, black and brown women, in order to have a preference. Because I prefer some thicky thickums, but y'all ain't never heard me talk down on somebody who ain't thicky thick. Shit, I ain't thicky thick my damn self. But for those of y'all, you know what you go through. You know what you put up because you want adjacency to the white man. And tell me I'm wrong. Give me 3 examples as to why you chose this preference and you decide to denigrate everybody else and that ain't your preference. And if you bring up Kanye West, all I got to say is look over his life and think things over. And yes, I quoted a gospel song. Look back over his life and think things over. Because he ain't been truly blessed. He got a testimony, but not the testimony he was supposed to have. And y'all, oh, it gets better. It gets better. Now, white people done took from going on social media, accusing us of being racist against them, to doing a whole political ad campaign, y'all. Here we go.
Hey, this is literally reverse racism in the sense that they're reversing what racism actually is and attempting to play the victim. Check this out, y'all. This is a real ad, by the way.
When did racism against white people become okay? Joe Biden put white people last in line for COVID relief funds. Kamala Harris said disaster aid should go to non-white citizens first. Liberal politicians block access to medicine based on skin color. Progressive corporations, airlines, universities all openly discriminate against white Americans. Racism is always wrong. The left's anti-white bigotry must stop. We are all entitled to equal treatment under law. America First Legal paid for this ad.
Let's start with the fact that America First paid for the ad. America First is a white supremacist tagline that dates back to the Nazi era. And let's not forget that Adolf Hitler borrowed from the Jim Crow laws and antebellum period to put forth his Nazi and SS era, and he also included black people in it. So when you're trying to separate black people from Jewish people, we were looked at under the same microscope. We were both set out to be eliminated. Number one. Number two, the definition of racism, we have no power. So how can we be racist against you? 3, they consistently misquote everyone by saying that marginalized communities who we know during natural disasters are left on the wayside should get aid first because they don't have the insurance policies. They don't have the savings accounts. Excuse me, they don't have the money market accounts to go and fix up their houses. They got minimal damage. So no, that's yep. The Roma, yep. Let me spotlight this. Yes, also the Romney.
I'll just say this.
And before you say something, let me say this. And y'all need to stop looking at those people as if they're white. They are not. Look at their skin. Look at their phenotypes. They are not. But go ahead.
It's just irritating to me when people sit here like the take the dude in my comment section the other day when I showed you when I did the last.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you didn't that's not.
You're going in and out.
Better?
Better?
Okay, yeah, it's better.
So,
Like,
why would
why would you,
this is
this is
an
an
idea
idea
to put
to
this
put
out
this
here
out
and
here
say,
and say,
oh, by
oh,
the
by
way,
the way,
they're
they're
being
being
this is like, first of all, as you just said, we
we
don't
don't
have
have
the
the
space
space
or the
or the
power
power
to
to
do
do
this.
this.
I can
I
be
can be
presented
thinking,
thinking, all day.
hey,
I can
I
have
can have
preconceived
no
notions of how you're going to do all
all
day.
day.
But
But
me
saying
saying that, you know, I don't like that. Yes,
yes,
it's
it's
an
an
echo.
echo.
It should be gone now. Say something.
Hello?
Hello?
Nope,
Nope,
still
still
echoing on
echoing
my
on
end.
my end.
It's not echoing on my end. The echo went away.
Let's
Let's
switch.
switch.
But okay, let's move on to the next one. Medical care in Georgia. Let's hope it clears up by the time we come back.
I just want to make sure I understood what you said. You're saying half the counties don't have an OBGYN practicing in the county?
82 of the 159 counties, so half of the state, does not have an OBGYN. 18 counties don't have a general family doctor. 9 counties have no physicians at all. Georgia is facing an extreme doctor shortage. We are facing a nursing shortage. The one possible way of meeting that standard would be expanding Medicaid so we could draw down more dollars and encourage more doctors to come to Georgia. But Brian Kemp both refuses to expand Medicaid in an act of cruelty that defies understanding, and he has signed this law that is going to deny access to women who cannot get service without going 203 miles outside of the state, assuming they have the resources and the contacts to get outside of the state of Georgia to get access to health care. Let's be clear. This would criminalize women. It would prosecute them. It would put doctors in prison for up to 10 years. And this could include a miscarriage that gets misread or investigated as an act of abortion. It would also outlaw abortion pills, medical abortion. This law is dangerous.
Once again, Stacey Abrams doesn't miss.
She never
does.
And before we go any further, coming from CBSNews.com, U.S. Embassy officials meet with Brittney Griner, WNBA star imprisoned in Russia. U.S. Embassy officials in Moscow on Thursday met with WNBA star Brittney Griner, who has been held behind bars in Russia since February, the Biden administration said. Griner was sentenced to 9 years in prison for drug possession in August, and her appeal was recently rejected by a Russian court. We are told she's doing well, as she can be expected under the circumstances, which means she's not doing well at all. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters aboard Air Force One. State Department spokesman Ned Price also confirmed the meeting, tweeting that U.S. officials saw firsthand her tenacity and perseverance despite her present circumstances. She's a black woman. We're going to survive regardless. It doesn't mean that we're comfortable in our survival mode. It doesn't mean that we're happy in our survival mode. It does not mean leave us in survival mode. Y'all were supposed to be negotiating well before her trial began. A prisoner swap. Why has this not happened? I swear for God. And as we discussed last night, the changes that are going on in news media and the fact that right now, billionaire conservatives pretty much own news media. So how are you finding your news? Social media, platforms like myself, TikTok, and other places. And guess what they're trying to do now? Just wait.
FCC commissioner wants to come out and ban TikTok, who has not lobbied anything against Facebook for taking our personal health information after Cambridge Analytica. after them being sued in Washington for not disclosing their campaign ad targeting algorithm. The FCC wants to come for TikTok. Here it is right here. Do you want to know the real reason why? Right now, media corporations and news corporations are all owned by the GOP. Every single one of them. And people have wisened up to it. More Americans get their news from TikTok than any of the major GOP-run news media organizations. Every single one of those organizations want to control the narrative and want to claim that it's both fucking sides, and it is not. The David Thrums, Andrea Michels, Mark Levine, Face the Nation, they all want to claim it's both sides, and it's not, and we all know it. This is why the FCC wants to ban it. Don't let them do this, TikTok. Make this go viral and blow it up.
Let me add this on it. Whether you get your news from TikTok or social media in general, because social media seems to be running a lot quicker than everything else. Because there are people who've told me that they get their news from my Instagram post. Because if it's a major news thing, I do post it on there. If you don't follow me over there, go over there. Also, this is the time, and I keep telling y'all, but this is the time that if you have a favorite creator, if you have a creator that's bringing you knowledge, bringing you history, bringing you current events, share their stuff. Stop. And if y'all go live and you're quoting the creator, say who the damn creator is. Stop just using their taglines or stuff that they say or stuff that you learned from them and not giving them credit, because guess what? We're not getting revenue from a lot of these streams. We're not. Especially small creators. We're not getting paid from it. Now, I happen to be a business owner, so I have a little bit more leeway to do things, because a lot of people just have a once a week podcast, and y'all know how many days of the week and how many podcasts and my blogs that I have. But I have a revenue stream that allows me to do that. A lot of people don't. So if you're learning something, if you're getting something out of us, share our shit. It costs you nothing to hit the share button. It costs you nothing when you're out in public and somebody's like, oh, I didn't know about this. And you're like, well, shit, I watched this the other day. Go check this out. Tell them about it. Because I know how many people watch my podcast that don't comment. And you want to know how I know? Is because I will say shit before it hits and becomes viral on the internet. And this is not me patting myself on the back. But when I wake up in the morning, a whole bunch of people are talking about it. Because they done duetted and stitched one person who watched the show who's literally regurgitating what the fuck I said. And I'm not just saying this for me. I'm saying this for every BIPOC creator that you like. Give them their flowers while they here. Don't Nora us. Don't wait till we dead to Nora Hurston us, and then all of a sudden we the greatest thing since Betty White and sliced bread.
I just say this. It's just really bad when you have people, take your ideas and take your mannerism, take your things and not say anything about, where they get it from. Because that's why, especially, I say this, and a lot of people, will be like, no, you didn't. I was like, trust me. I was saying snap way before Raven started saying snap. No tea, no shade to Raven. I would say,
both of us were saying shenanigans before anybody else.
I was saying shenanigans for 2018. I was saying shenanigans all over. That was my word.
Faux-apology, Man Cassidy, Coontastic Coalition, Alabaster Animaniac, Yeast Yeti Yardigan. Ain't nobody tagged me in shit. No, let me take that back. Outside of this lovely gentleman over here, I'm not excluding him. When I say ain't nobody, I'm not talking about him. Y'all need to understand.
Try muting yourself again, because I think it's only echoing when you're on. So I've said chicoonery And I'm surprised I haven't seen that floating around yet. I'm surprised. But we'll see what happens. Because it's a combination of shenanigans and coonery, and I just put them all. I just put it together. So we'll see what happens. Try it now, because you're not. There's no echo when you're muted, but when you unmute, I start hearing it. But no, go ahead, unmute. I'll mute and you can talk.
Sorry, I clicked something else and something popped up on my screen. Before we move forward, as always, check out what's linked in the description of this video because it will give you further context. There was a donut shop that was firebombed. I'm gonna play the video. Then there's an article. Y'all know how this go. Just I'm trying not to get another CGV over here. So I'm trying to choose my words wisely because YouTube don't just give me a warning; they'll shut us down. So let me just stick to the facts. Here we go. I'm just gonna say my thoughts are included in the blog that's in the description of this video. Go ahead, D-Mac.
You know, I really don't understand when people will sit here and destroy another person's livelihood for just thinking differently. I'm just like, if that's your reasoning, then explain to me why nobody from the left or even who is not as far conservative as the far right has gone to go firebomb or tear up somebody else's house or just go to their job and make things uncomfortable for them. Do you not think just because a person has insurance doesn't mean that they were expecting to come into the job the next morning and find their place firebombed or get a phone call from the fire department saying, "Hey, your place is on fire"? Who's expecting that? Nobody. And the fact that these people don't realize that you're ruining people's lives because they don't think like you is utterly ridiculous. I really honestly believe that these people just need to be put on one island and let them fight amongst themselves because this is just ridiculousness. That person, whoever they are who own that store, did not deserve that phone call from the fire department. They did not deserve that. It's not fair to them. I don't understand why you thought in your infinite wisdom, let me just go over there and just firebomb this place because it's going to be a fun ride for me. Now, you better hope and you better pray that you didn't have to fill up your gas tank when you went home. Because I'm pretty sure you parked somewhere far down the street, and I'm hoping you didn't have to fill up your gas because trust and believe, them policemen are going to be looking, especially the fire department don't play around with fires like that. They don't play around. They are not happy when people do that. Like if it happens like because, a pipe, something burst or something just clicked and it, started a fire, they're not gonna make a big deal. But you starting a fire, oh, they're going in. They don't play that game. That is not a good look, baby. So you better hope that they don't check those gas stations along the routes towards and from this business. But I've done said my piece. I'm gonna let her talk. I'm gonna mute. so we don't have an echo again.
Here's the thing. Y'all don't know how many firemen I work with. And my cousin will tell you, I can find you quicker than the FBI can find you. See, you might think that you have your whole face covered, but see, before I got into IT, I had a plan. I wanted to establish a certain set of skills to make sure that I would be protected in business. So, banking audits, healthcare, and you go, what? Why does healthcare matter? When you work in certain units, there are various parts of a person that is covered, but you still have to be able to identify them. So you learn different identifiers, and you know how to pinpoint different identifiers. And like I've told you all many times before, I've worked with SWAT teams for police departments who have taught me a thing or two. And I have some friends that swing through this podcast and are very vocal when they're not, out on an emergency call. And they often, actually, I'm not going to say often, they always watch the show in their downtime, that speak on it and teach me certain things. So, dude, you will be found. You will be found expeditiously. And the way that you will be found will rattle your brain till the day you meet your ancestors. But remember when I told y'all about the 10-year-old that lived in Ohio that was molested, got pregnant, was trying to get an abortion. Ohio wouldn't let them have an abortion, and they had to go all the way to Indiana, and people were harassing the doctor who performed the abortion, rightfully so, in Indiana. Y'all, we gotta win. We gotta win. Coming from CBSNews.com. Excuse me, I got too excited. That went down the wrong way. Dr. Caitlin Bernard, who provided abortion to 10-year-old rape victim, sues Indiana Attorney General. Dr. Caitlin Bernard, the Indianapolis obstetrician gynecologist who provided an abortion to a 10-year-old rape victim from Ohio, is suing Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita. I don't even give a damn if I get that name wrong. Todd, you's a bitch. Alleging he has relied on baseless consumer complaints to launch overboard investigation into physicians who provide abortion care and issued subpoenas seeking the confidential medical records of their patients. That's a HIPAA violation, Todd. The lawsuit filed by lawyer Kathleen Delaney. Ooh, I love girl power. Leaning on girl power. Okay. On behalf of Bernard and her medical partner, Dr. Amy Caldwell, in Indiana Commercial Court in Marion County, claimed Rokita opened investigations into 7 consumer complaints filed against Bernard after she came under scrutiny for performing the medication-induced abortion on July 30th, days after the Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade. Hold on. Wait. So 7 Karens complained to a white man. And this white man was like, yeah, it's a 10-year-old. Now down in Florida, I know we said a 16-year-old wasn't responsible enough to say she needed an abortion because of her grades. But, poor grades, and being sexually active means that she's right for being a mother because, we need more white babies born. The fuck? The fuck is y'all doing? And y'all thought that they weren't gonna sue? That's a whole ass HIPAA violation by saying, hey, since you perform abortions, send us over your patient records. And there were 7, and y'all can say what you want. Y'all know that it was 7 white women. You know that it was 7 white women that voiced those complaints. Like, they won't send over their records. They need to send over their records. We need to know what's going on at that office. But ask those 7 white women to turn over their medical records. I bet you won't be no back talk. Won't be no back talk. I promise you, you'll find 6711 damn abortions in their medical records. Oh, well, actually, you probably won't, because there's a little known caveat of HIPAA regulations. You can have things removed from your medical record yourself. Bet y'all didn't know that. But let me mute going.
To the idiots who decided to be stupid and petty because you thought that she didn't give you the care that you thought you deserved, I hope you never get sick again. I hope that in your infinite wisdom that you never need another doctor, or at least a woman doctor, to do something for you. I'm hoping that all your pregnancies come to a full fruition, and that you have no complications, and that you don't need any doctoral help. I'm hoping when your man has kept you barefoot and pregnant for the last 25 years of your life, having you pop out 25 babies, that you have sat there and you've just sat there and taken it. Because the fact that you thought in your wisdom that a 10-year-old girl deserved to bring forth a baby when her body is not even capable of doing so. Just because she got her period early does not make her a full-blown woman. Shoot, not even half of the 15, 13, 14, 16, 17, and 18-year-old women who have brought forth children either by they wanted to do it. Again, I don't know if they do, they don't. That's not my business. I'm not their mama. I'm not their daddy. I'm not them. These people who their bodies are not capable. Their brain hasn't even finished fully being developed to understand what they're doing. Now, granted, does sex feel good? Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. But the ramifications of that, most people are not ready for the next stage of what can happen if you're not protecting yourself. Now, am I going to say at any stage of life you're ready to carry a baby? No, you're not. If you prepare for it, that's a different story. You make sure you read, you ask your auntie your mama, your grandmama, the hard questions. Be like, look, tell me the truth. Do not sit here and sugarcoat it for me. Don't say, oh, all babies are beautiful. All babies are sweet angels. No, tell me that at 12 o'clock in the morning when I done tried to finally rock that badness to sleep, they going to get back up and cause me to get out of my good bed, out of my tired sleep, to come and rock them back to sleep. No. Y'all need to stop policing these women and making them feel bad. Well, what about these men out here sitting out here spreading seed faster than a grass spreader? Huh? We ain't got no condemnation for them. We ain't got no condemnation for the people sitting there sowing their non-royal oats all over the place, like they ain't got no, like they giving it out like a stimulus check. We ain't got nothing for them. Hello? What's not clicking, Steven? What happened to the person who raped that poor girl? We ain't throwing the book at him. Come on, Ohio. I thought y'all were about protecting children. What happened? What happened? Pull up. Because as far as I'm concerned, the fact that this family had decided to try and sweep this underneath the rug when the girl I don't know if she told somebody outside of the family, like, look, I got raped and now I'm carrying a child and I don't want this child. I can't carry this child to term. I will die. She was 10 years old, people. How young is too young? Now I understand back in the 12th and 10th centuries and all the rest of them, they were marrying their girls off earlier, probably even earlier than that. They weren't? They weren't or they were? Well, oh, they were. Oh, okay. I'm just like, I get that. They were killing them? Well, I mean, they were having babies. Okay. Mute and tell me what you mean.
Okay, just like there's an infamous case that there was a neighbor, a family friend, that befriended a young girl and groomed her, and she was 9 years old. They were doing that, and that's why they started having, statutory ages, things like this. The girls were dying in childbirth. They were dying in childbirth. And here's the thing, and I'm glad that you brought up the fact that, yes, sex feels good, because they try to use this to excuse pedophilia. And the maps, if you don't know what a map is, Google it. I'm not going to discuss that on this channel. And that's why a lot of victims feel bad or feel like they had a part in it or they weren't abused, because they did get some pleasure out of it, but they don't realize you were forced into this. The body is going to react chemically and physically the way the body is going to react. There are so many tales of rape victims having an orgasm because the body is going to react the way the body is going to react. You can be fighting the whole time, but chemically your body is going to react the way that it does. And that's what I'm saying, that even back in the day when they were, marrying children, these children were dying in childbirth. Perfect example is any monarchy around the globe. Any of the top tier 1% families that are long standing within the United States, look at their family history. Look at when a lot of these kids lost their mothers. And when you do the math, bruh. But I guess we kinda sorta lightning things. Well, it's a AOC clapback. AOC and Twitter. Here we go.
AOC complained late Wednesday that her Twitter account stopped working properly, shortly after she traded barbs with the site's new owner, Elon Musk. The progressive Democratic lawmaker floated a claim that Musk was somehow responsible for the glitch, which allegedly affected her ability to receive notifications. Also, my Twitter mentions notifications conveniently aren't working tonight, so I was informed via text that I seem to have gotten under a certain billionaire's skin. She wrote, AOC is one of several public figures who have publicly grumbled about Musk's plan to charge users $8 per month to maintain their blue check status. The billionaire is adamant that he won't budge from the monthly price point for verification checks.
Guess who else's notifications weren't working properly that night? Stephen King. And how do I know this? Because I regularly tag Stephen King and stuff, and he actually responds. He's really cool. So yeah, Elon Musk, the same person that stifled free speech with his employees under separate companies before he acquired Twitter, when he just thought his whole Twitter escapade would just be a distraction for the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. But he signed legal paperwork, so now he's fucked. Yeah. But y'all, oh, go ahead.
So, I just love the fact that there has been a mass exodus from this app for the stars. Which means a lot of them, especially like the basketball players, football players, stars, singers, and everything. I'm like, you do realize, sir, that those advertisers that we had saw in the previous clip, they follow those people. and wherever they happen to land, because I think Tumblr might pick them up. Just saying, just throwing that out there, because Tumblr has still been around, but it hasn't been as relevant since Twitter came along. So you're just honestly forcing people to go back into social medias that they haven't thought about yet, or thought of, or had accounts and then dropped them once Twitter came along. So I hope you enjoy that rust bucket that's gonna be left, because it's gonna be funny to see you try and pay that $1 billion a year. Yes, I stand it. Yes. I hope you enjoy the rust bucket. And for those of you who are Ben 10 fans, you know what that means. Just saying.
Now, I know we ran over, but everything has been worth it because tomorrow we're gonna be jokey. Uh, and I'm trying to get out all the pertinent information to you all ahead of election day, because even though there's early election, I want everybody to be as informed as they possibly can. And I know that they keep claiming that there was election fraud in 2020, but guess what? There's confirmed election fraud in 2022. Let's take a look.
The deputy director of the Wisconsin Election Commission has just been fired for trying to obtain absentee ballots. She did this to send it to a Republican state lawmaker to cast doubt on the elections. Deputy director of Wisconsin's elections falsely requested absentee ballots, then sent them to the Republican so that they could see doubt on the outcome of the election. Republicans did that. That just happened. The mayor has immediately fired her, and now there's a criminal investigation. I'm going to post the news article and her name. Here she is. Her name is Kimberly Zapata, immediately fired for fraudulently requesting military ballots, and she's now under criminal and federal investigation. She was attempting to steal military ballots, absentee ballots, give them to a Republican lawmaker who is a 2020 election denier, likes to seed discord in our election results, who is attempting to destabilize democracy so that Americans will accept authoritarianism and fascism, like they did in the 40s. Republicans and their American First movement in the 1940s is now the MAGA movement redone. Russians have offered them a lot of money and power to destabilize America and promises of position within the new authoritarian USA, and so they're going right along with it. Oh, and Donald Trump is still a fucking idiot. He thinks you can impeach sitting members of Congress. He's so fucking stupid.
Okay, coming from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Milwaukee Election Commission official Kimberly Zapata could face charges accusing her of fraudulently requesting military ballots. A Milwaukee election official could face criminal charges accusing her of fraudulently requesting absentee ballots reserved for members of the military and sending them to a Republican lawmaker known for embracing unfounded conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. Milwaukee Election Commission Deputy Director Kimberly Zapata, 45. Oh shit, we the same age? Girl, I saw a picture of you. You are not aging well. Anywho, of South Milwaukee was fired by Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson this week after Johnson discovered she had requested the ballots. Johnson said Zapata's actions may have may have been to show voter fraud was possible. I'm pretty sure her actions were to fake voter fraud, but let's keep going. This has every appearance of being an egregious and blatant violation of trust. It's pretty clear she broke the law. Johnson said, election integrity is absolutely integral. It's absolutely essential. Then call it what it is. Just say the bitch broke the fucking law. That's all you gotta say. She broke the fucking law. What she did was an encroachment upon voter rights, which all of us currently, well, most of us at this point, because Puerto Rico still can't. Let me shut up before I get another community guidelines violation. Milwaukee County prosecutors are considering charging Zapata with malfeasance in office, a felony, and illegally requesting a ballot, a misdemeanor. A source told me, why are y'all considering this shit? She broke the law. You got evidence. Oh, she white. She white. That's why y'all considering it. She white. Y'all want to see who she connected to first. Y'all want to make sure that she ain't got no big connections. It's gonna cause you to lose your job, even though that you claim that racism, nepotism, and capitalism does not rule this land, this ghetto ass cesspool. But okay. Capitalism. So, let me mute. Give your thoughts, cousin.
She broke the law. Arrest her and charge her with the fraud. That's it. There's really no question about that. There's no need to make a decision. There's no need to. I mean, her instant firing should let you know that she broke the law, dude. I don't understand what's your question. So, Attorney General, get to do your job. Charge her and arrest her. Point blank, period. I don't care if she's got a family. I don't care if she's got a grandmother in the hospital on her last leg. She broke the law. Nobody's above the law. That's what y'all keep saying. Y'all the law and order people. So she broke the law. Charge her with the felony and go about your business. I said what I said. Girl, the back to blue shenanigans, whatever. They can kiss my whole entire ass. My whole entire one.
Oh, trust me. I knew that you would catch it immediately. Okay, we got one last video that we're going to comment on, and then we have the closing video, as always. North Carolina. North Carolina. What the fuck is going on in North Carolina? What's going on in both of the Carolinas? But so we're supposed to have rape councils now. For those of y'all that don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna bring the context here. I don't even know how to. Let's just roll it.
Bo Hines, running for North Carolina District 13, wants victims of rape and incest to be allowed to get an abortion on a case-by-case basis through a community-level review process. I wonder how that would work.
WRAL in Raleigh, North Carolina, then summarized Bo Hines' new position on abortion this way. He wants victims of rape and incest to be allowed to get an abortion on a case-by-case basis through a community-level review process outside the jurisdiction of the federal government. And so the 10-year-old girl, who Bo Hines first referred to as a 10-year-old woman in that answer, would have to go through how many interviews in the community review process after being raped?
Wiley Nickel is running against Bo Hines for District 13 in North Carolina, and he believes women should have the right to choose.
This is a candidate for Congress echoing the comments that Dr. Oz made about local politicians making these decisions. It's frankly just unimaginable that a woman who's been traumatized and raped would have to go in front of a panel of strangers to beg for health care. We get to reject that in this race.
I'm going to say something, and I'm going to bring D-Mac up in a minute, but I'm going to say something, and I don't want anybody to put it on him, so I'm saying this with just me on the screen right now. Dr. Oz is fucked up. Bo Hines is fucked up, because these rape panels, which y'all don't realize, already exist. I was put through a hypothetical rape panel last year. I had people who are currently fighting for their lives to defend their honor against what? Rape allegations, sexual assault allegations, that allowed someone to tell them that what I went through, I didn't go through. When this person, the night that it happened to me, was able to look me in my eyes, see the fear in my eyes, sit by the phone while I went to the hospital, came back, and laid in my bed, terrified to fall asleep, talked to me for several weeks after that about my terror of my own house. But I wanted to reclaim it because of all the energy, the effort, and the love I put into certain places in my house. Go through this. These rape panels aren't doing anything but allowing somebody else to have a leg up because of somebody else's trauma. And the people who participate in these panels, they go, oh, I'm all about the victim. They always end up coming up with allegations of their own. And when those allegations come up, what do they want? They want understanding. They want reasoning. They don't want you to jump to conclusions. But what did they do when you were the victim? Because I admit, there was a point in time last year that I spiraled. I spiraled to a very, very scary place. I spiraled so far that I honestly can't tell you how I'm still sitting in front of you today. I should be with the ancestors right now. How badly and how far I spiraled. I'm being honest. For whatever reason, I'm still here. But the people who were a part of this panel, they don't even speak no more. And everybody knows it. But guess who everybody's still mad at? So how do you think these rape panels are going to go, Dr. Oz? How do you think they're going to go, Bo Hines? These women are going to be demonized and ostracized for life in order for them to sit at the cool kids' table. Even though the cool kids went from having one table to now having 67 tables at 57 restaurants. But let's get into final thoughts. D-Mac, what are your final thoughts on the night?
So, I want y'all to picture something for me. And see, Mr. Bo, I want you to picture this for me too. Imagine that was your wife, your sister, your female cousin who came to you and told you that they've been raped and they are now pregnant with their rapist child. What would you do? Would you recommend that they go to these rape panels to discuss their traumatic experience of being violated in the worst way that a woman who can be violated was violated in? Is that the right thing to do? Is that the best thing for them? Because I don't know one person who would like to relive their trauma all over again in front of somebody that they don't know or people that they don't know who are still judging them, saying that you brought this on yourself. I don't think that's a good indication of how you make women feel better about reporting these crimes. Because I can tell you, if you go through with this, there will be more women doing back alley abortions and shenanigans to not have to deal with the remembrance of that. There's a Tyler Perry play I think it's the play, not the movie. It's called I Can Do Bad All By Myself. And one of the sisters, her mother basically gave her to her I think it was her pimp or her drug man to have him have his way with her. And when her mother had passed and everything else, and the girls are grown up, and there's a scene in that play where they're talking, and she says, you know what, every time I see my daughter's face, I still see my rapist's face. She still sees him every time she looks at her daughter. And it's not saying that she didn't love or have any kind of some sort of maternal feeling towards her daughter. It's just that she sees his face every time she looks at her. So imagine having your trauma walking around, breathing all over the place and constantly reminding you how they got there. That's not a good look, sir. And don't tell me, oh, well, we can. No. Think of how that child will feel if you give them up for adoption. Think how that child's going to feel when they find out how they were conceived. Now, I'm not saying there aren't children who go into the adoption agency or orphanage or whatever you want to call it, who were like, these two kids, like, we're too young. We can't raise these kids. We have no way of providing for them. That's a different story. That's a horse of another color. But to have that be from a rape and the mother not being viable or being mentally stable enough to be like, I can't not do this. Think when they track her down and they ask her, what is she going to say? What is she going to say? Your daddy is a rapist. That doesn't just roll off the tongue. It's not like it's like, oh, well, your daddy was the rapist and that's how you got here, but I couldn't be mentally prepared to raise you or do anything for you, so I gave you up for adoption. That's not going to happen. But y'all so used to bumping uglies with your cousins and sisters already, y'all don't see that as a bad thing. Then you wonder why Black people or other people of color look at you sideways. Same thing. Well, not same thing, but you know what I mean. I'm like, you wonder why Black people look at you sideways, or you have other people of color, like the indigenous people. You wonder why they look at you like, y'all are idiots. Y'all take I don't think there's any other people on this planet other than white people who will go and look at something and say, I must have it, and then destroy it in the same time frame. Y'all have gone to every continent on the face of this planet, and you've made everyone else feel bad for existing the way they've used to existed for thousands of years. And because it's not the way you think they should be existing, you're upset. So I'm telling you, everyone who's watching this, please make sure, again, the voting times is coming. Please make sure you are available to vote these crazy behind Republicans out, because they do not need to be making decisions for everyone. It is not a good look. That's all I got there. I hope I didn't ruffle nobody's feathers.
I'm in a unique position because for the first time since I've had social media, I have account warnings across the board, across all of my social media platforms. Now, Twitter, me sticking on Twitter, I knew that was going to happen. And, you rarely get an account warning on Twitter. because Twitter has always been a cesspool and a free-for-all, especially after Elon Musk. But evidently today, me sharing my ad for my merch was a step too far. But I will say the last part of this conversation, I'm going to take about a 10-minute break. And I'm going to meet y'all over on TikTok for us to continue the conversation. Because I think the conversation about men and women respecting each other's autonomy is important. And I know some of y'all are like, but Taz, we respect men's autonomy. Do we really? We may not pass laws regarding men, but I did some deep soul searching and some thinking while I was sick, and I've been a part of this too. Where we as women and femme-presenting individuals, or AKA femmes, we're quick to tell a man, oh, get a vasectomy, do this. That's taking away their autonomy as well. And before y'all go, oh, Taz is turning into a pick-me. No, I'm seeing things from both sides. It's a difference between when you sit down and have a conversation with your particular partner, as opposed to you making broad statements and telling a broad amount of people what to do with their bodies. Because isn't that what's happening to us women and femme-presenting individuals? And I have to admit the hypocrisy and the fact that there was a point in time that I took part in this hypocrisy. But as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. And y'all know, I got one final video to leave y'all with for educational purposes. Don't report my shit for this, but share my shit. Okay? Okay. And remember, tomorrow is funsies. It will be pre-recorded because my brother decided I need to go touch grass again, which means there's probably going to be another racist I'm going to have to check.
No, Berry Gordy is black. Founder of Motown Records is a black man. Let's go over the family tree. This is Berry Gordy. He founded Motown Records. He's known as Berry Gordy Jr., but he's actually Berry Gordy III. This is Berry Gordy's dad, also named Berry Gordy. He is 1/4 white on his dad's side. I could not find a picture of his dad, but his grandfather is this guy. This is James Thomas Gordy. He is Berry Gordy's great-grandfather. He SA'd an enslaved black woman to create Berry Gordy 1. This is James Jackson Gordy, who is a son of James Thomas Gordy. And if you remember, James Thomas Gordy is also the father of Berry Gordy I. This man would go on to have a daughter named Lillian. Lillian Gordy would go on to marry a man named James Earl Carter. And they would have a son named James Earl Carter Jr., or better known as Jimmy Carter, which is all saying that Jimmy Carter and Berry Gordy are second cousins.